Namaste, friends. With your permission, I start. It's 5 a.m. So, as usual, we start with our prayer. So kindly chant, repeat as I chant. Namaskritya, Gurum Bhaktya, Brahmatmanandarupinam, Sadhanasyopadeshtaram, Kurva Sadhana Bodhinim. Thanking all the ancestors and family deities and gurus, we go into our meditation. Sit in whatever comfortable posture you can. Preferably close your eyes, and we start with chanting Om 3 times. Allowing the percolation of the Om into every cell of your body. Withdraw from the external world, and may you contain yourself within yourself and be here for the next 45 minutes to 1 hour so that nothing distracts us. Beautiful, calm, cool morning. And with this, we inhale. Today, while inhaling, try to see how many times you can chant a mantra of your own. Whatever is your mantra, the name of the Lord. And the longer, the more number you can do, which shows your breathing capacity is much better. Gradually increase the time of inhale. Retain it. Count again as many as possible. And exhale, again chanting the name of the Lord. We do that 3 times. The idea of chanting the name of the Lord, or even counting 1, 2, 3, 4, to get better concentration on your breathing, and thereby being able to withdraw from our confusing outer world. And that gets you better concentration and gets you better Shraddha. Almost every day I keep checking with different participants. You are very happy being there in the morning. You listened to the talk. You thanked and congratulated me. Just give me the gist of what exactly did I speak. And then you can find they are unable to pronounce and say, what exactly did you say? I mean business. Anything that we do should get us returns. I don't mean personal returns. There should be some return, some takeaway for you back home. And here the whole purpose is not only to start the day peacefully and happy, but we are marching towards a destination. And from day one, I've been saying, try to fix a goal in life. And here we have enough goals to choose. Those who have efficiency and capacity to take up more responsibilities. Number one is to become a good Vaidya, having know about the science. And for those who know about the science, taking them more deeper into their own body constitution, trying to educate them how their health depends in their own hands. WHO had a saying years ago, health in the hands of the people. No other system can be in the health hands of the people except the Ayush systems. Ayurveda, Siddha, and Yoga can be in your own hands. Western medicine cannot be in your own hands. So we are blessed and fortunate that we took up this great heritage of Ayurveda and decided to dedicate and devote our life for the welfare of man and prevent him from becoming sick, promote his health to greater extent, and also cure him if at all he falls sick. So we have a major responsibility after making sure we can develop Ayurveda into a national system of medicine, whether we can take this and elevate this to become an international system of medicine. So a great task. In addition to that, if you're really somebody concerned about the nation, concerned about human welfare, there was a time, sometime earlier, when everybody used to ask, where is the nation going? Is it going to the dogs? I used to say, nation is not going to the dogs. You're going to the dogs. If everybody can start minding their own business and try to see how you can perfect yourself before you change the world will change automatically. That is the potential within you, the hidden powers within you. Awaken them. Like yesterday we spoke about Swami Vivekananda's words, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. More concentrated, spending more time with their family and children helps them to not really feel unwell. Now, for the last so many years, a heritage which has been there for the last thousands of years, almost every civilization in the world has crashed, and the only one left behind is the Sanatana Dharma civilization, the Bharatiya civilization. It's so full of knowledge, so full of depth, so many varieties we have, and all the 64 Shastras are for enlightening man, not for entertaining man. But sad that the British rule, the Mughal rule, the foreign invasions. Try to see that all of them are mutilated, but all of them are eternal sciences, eternal shastras, eternal kalas, that nobody can ever destroy it. So it came to our hands, and today a new generation has taken over the reins of that. And ever since we got independence, unfortunately, we did not pursue and try to bring back those great Shastras. Many of you must have heard about Michel Danino, who spoke even 4 days back, a Frenchman who's an Indologist. He says every subject India has dealt with. We had a great history, which was not the history that we learned in schools. We have a great geography, which is far more wider and longer and wider than the present Bharat that we see. We went right up to Afghanistan on the other side, Cambodia on this side. All this is part of Bharat. Many parts got chipped off. Kashmir was about to go from our hands. Thank God the new act brought it back into our hands. One Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, cannot do it alone. Each one of us as an Indian, a responsibility, as somebody who inherited this great heritage. Each one of us are the owners of this great heritage. We've got to play a part in it. Giving sympathy and saying, yes, I agree with Modi ji, he's doing a brilliant job. This is not what he wants. In your own way, perfect yourself, sharpen yourself, elevate yourself to higher consciousness. And you could find you are also becoming a transforming agent. Yesterday, I was trying to peep into some of the great texts. And for the benefit of all of you, I just made a few points from that so that I don't keep dragging my own words, but speak out from the words of great masters. Spirituality is the positive content of Indian tradition. It's undergoing constituent. So India's basic constituent has been spirituality. All the rishis and the munis of the past never lived for a worldly life, but all of them were deep into spirituality. The Upanishads are its foundation sources. So if somebody wants to go into become a spirituality, yesterday somebody asked, how do I become spiritual? I said, preferably through a guru who can handhold and guide you. Because as you read the Upanishads, like as we study Ayurveda, we have so many doubts coming into our mind. We need to free this country from the clutches of the British and struggle through non-violence. And when they say non-violence, just not limiting it to not taking to arms, but the inner power. The greatest weapon that you can have is within you. If you can have a sankalpa, try in your own surroundings. How you take a sankalpa, the power of intention, we say. You could see how wonders can happen. I was reading the book of an American in which it was mentioned that in Tamil Nadu village, there was a king who was building a temple. And as the time was nearing for its completion, the Lord comes in the dream of the king and says, unfortunately, I will not be able to come for the Muhurta because I've been invited elsewhere because somebody else is building a temple. And the king was wondering in his village or in his kingdom who else was building. And on inquiry, he found nobody else was doing it. Next night in the dream, he tells the Lord, Lord, I don't find anybody else building a temple. The Lord gives the name of a priest and says, so and so is building a temple, Manasika Kshetram, within himself. The king was so happy and so surprised that the Lord could mention the name of a priest, which means he must be a great priest. Next day, the king goes and falls at his feet and says, Panditji, are you building a temple? He said, no way. I can't afford to build a temple. Now, the Lord mentioned that he is coming for the prana pratishtha of your temple. Then the priest said, oh yes. In my mind, I was building a kshetra for my own manasika puja. These days we all go for pujas, attending in temples, because we neither know the mantra nor the process of how to do a puja. So we say Acharya Mukhena, we conduct it. And then the king was surprised that there was such a great man. So the Lord keeps up his word, and I inquired whether the named village really existed or is it a story. It does exist in Tamil Nadu, and there exists a temple. And inquiring with the elderly generation, the story has come down, the parampara saying, yes, there was a great priest. And this is what India was. Almost every village you could see large number of temples. And I myself and many others used to ask, those days, why did they waste so much of money? You must have heard about the Tanjore temple. The stones went up the tower, starting 10 kilometers from that side. The tallest temple, the largest and the hugest stones. How did they take it up? They didn't have cranes. And the king's job was to make sure that he gave enough employment for the people. And it was sad to go and find not even a lamp was lit there. Like this, you could find, and all these temples are the visions of great men who had a vision of the Lord, and he immediately installed a temple. They didn't have the money, but the Lord provided them, and for their personal prayers, they went to those temples. Similarly, you should also take a sankalpa that I am not just merely going to limit myself to be a Vaidya, which I definitely need to, but if you can go into your inner depths, you will automatically start becoming a greater Vaidya than just mere textbook studies and classical textbooks. So it asks man to feel the pulsation of the divine in life and nature. You should feel the divine in your life and in nature. Today we have forgotten nature, and that's why we rape nature and made this mess of the whole world. If we had the sensation to feel the divinity in every leaf that you find, every tree, every rock, instead of finishing them off and thereby inviting more misery into our own self, nature, and enjoy with zest the full lifespan of 100 years through renunciation. A full ayus, they say, is 120 years. Here it says, enjoy 100 years. How? By renunciation, by renouncing it, by creating everything for others and not for ourselves. Yesterday I mentioned, let not any of your act be for selfish, personal, or for your own family. If it can be with the intention of doing good for others, you'll find the sources comes on its own. It's only when it's for your own self you find all the difficulties. I was involved with a group of building a great temple in a nearby town called Salem. I guided them for astrological consultations, And once while on my way to Bangalore, I stopped in the temple, and the organizers came running very fast and said, "Thank you so much, sir. Everything has been done. Only thing, the flooring stones have not yet been purchased. We wanted to have black marble granite, but it's beyond our cost, so we will gradually do it." At that moment, all of them must have concentrated and spoken about the stones, that we find a North Indian friend from another neighboring town coming there and saying, "This is a new Ayappa temple that you're building. I heard that you wanted black marble for your flooring. How many square feet you need?" All of them started looking at each other and asking, "Did you ever go and mention to anybody? Did you go and ask?" And frankly, nobody had asked anybody, where did this man come from? That means when your concentration is set full, you feel for the divine. You feel the divinity in everything. Their divinity, their feeling for the coming up of the temple. Bring somebody there and he says, "All this much of stones, I shall deliver another 2 days' time." And it gets completed. Yesterday I was requesting all your friends, take to great dreams of building great institutions. As we mentioned, we need many more Vaidyas, we may need many more beds. If all the 10 diseases which we are mentioning about, for which Western medicine doesn't have a cure, we need nearly 1 lakh beds. But today, if you calculate all the beds in Ayurvedic hospitals together, I don't think we have more than 10,000 beds. So the infrastructure has to be ready. We need more than a lakh of Vaidyas who are equipped with high sensitivity knowledge, who can penetrate beyond the symptoms and go deeper and find out what exactly is the man's problem and what is he going to get into in further, and come out with not ready-made medicines but tailor-made medicines, so that it becomes more very accurate and specific and more powerful. Full span of 100 years through renunciation. Tena tektena bunjira. It says, enjoy through renunciation. I was mentioning to you, when we say the word renunciation, there's a scare in everybody. How do I renounce anything I got hard earned? Try giving more, and the more you give, the more you get. But we have never tasted giving. We have always been interested only in accumulating. But the moment this becomes a joy in you, you start finding happiness and more beauty. And you start getting, you might have accumulated something which you really don't need. And only after buying it, you realize it was a waste. But then you start finding the Lord starts gifting you with what you really need. And that's how, in exchange to what you give to others, you get in return. So enjoy through renunciation is its watchword. This idea was later developed by Gita into a comprehensive and practical spirituality in a theory of detached action. That's why Gita teaches you practically detached action. Let not any action of yours be with an intention, with a purpose that I need to get something in return to something. Just perform your duty. Yoga karma su kaushalam, it says, perfection in action. But today, even for a smile, you got to pay somebody. You want an introduction? They say, we pay you this much for the introduction if you can give me to this minister or that personality. Early days, when we got to know that you need the help of somebody, you volunteered and called up and told them that I know so and so, can I put in a word for you? And what you do never goes waste. The Lord's computer is perfect. He retains every good thought of yours, every good action of yours. All these are not and purer forms of delight. So as you start doing all that, you start getting elevated to higher consciousness. Yesterday we spoke about the need for higher consciousness, and the shift can happen only if there is a shift in your consciousness. Shifting of today's situation into a better situation, whether it is your own condition, your own science of Ayurveda, or the nation's development. And this great secret is held only in India. And that's why you find all great masters are come here. Steve Jobs himself said before his Apple venture, he came here, he found a guru, and he took initiation from that guru. And thereafter, there was no hype. But unfortunately, he didn't belong to the Indian Sanskar, and therefore he left his body much earlier. Maybe he was a great soul, because great souls don't remain on earth for longer. So maybe we are. And like that, I mentioned the names of so many great masters who all felt that it is after coming to visiting Bharat and meeting great masters like Alexander the Great, even he met a beggar on the way who was happily having one leg on the other. And somebody had told him, when you come back from India after capturing the nation, bring a great soul. So when he sat near him and invited him, he said, what do you want me to come there for? He said, I'll pay you a lot more. He said, what do I need that money for? You'll be more happier. He said, I'm already happy. And this is what made Alexander the Great himself a realized soul, saying that it's not the wealth that makes me happy. It is the inner happiness. And for that Mahatma, it was all renunciation. Renounce as much as possible. I told you about Kanchi Paramacharya. The minute he gets 5 lakhs, nearly 30 years back, instead of taking it for his own ashram, which has been running schools and colleges and hospitals and taking care of so many temples, he just gives it locally for the benefit of the local people. And thereafter, that village, Satara, the way it grew. And this is how great masters walked through the nation. And wherever their feet touched, those places got purified, lesser crimes, more happy souls. So this way you should become purer forms of delight. People seeing you not only as a human being, but as a Vaidya. The minute they say you, they should feel what a delight and what a charm the Vaidya has on the face. And that's why they say, I really felt good with that Vaidya. I'm sure if he can treat me, I'll be cured. That faith in the patient on you is after treatment. But there are many doctors who shout at you, and the patient feels this is not the right physician for me. But the world has mentioned that he's a great physician. They take the trouble of taking his medicines, but they're unable to pursue having them because they have side effects of vomiting or not being able to absorb it. Or even if they go through the whole course of treatment, they don't find any benefit. The same way the Vaidya also. The patient should be trained as to how to visit a physician, and this is what should become part of our education. But our educational school doesn't teach any of these things. There are new concepts of school education, which I shall certainly discuss one of these days. I want some of you to take the initiative, at least those who have land in villages, start a different concept of school. Don't take to CBSE. Modi ji is promoting NIOS, open school concept. I'm running a similar school in a remote village in Kerala. And a girl who came with utter poverty was the one who became the first in the international exams of NIOS, which is there in all the Commonwealth countries. And she wants to become a doctor. And the local convent immediately adopted her for higher education at free of cost. Whereas today you find you get a gold medal in some particular exams of today, whether it's matriculation board or this board or that board. But after that, they are Uber drivers, auto rickshaw drivers, not able to cope up with the type of money that they spend. The positive concept of renunciation is a central concept of ethics, of dharma. Today it's a very rarely heard word. Each one of us have our own swadharma to perform as a Vaidya. You have a dharma of your own as a Vaidya. You need to learn what is it, your dharma towards the science, your dharma towards your patient, your dharma towards the medicines that you make. Yesterday somebody was asking about not having all the ingredients in the medicines, will it work? It shall not. And that's why you find most of them having a miserable life after having made money, but the wrong way. In Indian thought, this dynamic teaching of practical spirituality has tremendous consequences for man and society. For the emphasis here is on character. And that's why every day we need to make sure how tamasic we were during the day, during certain hours, how lazy you were, how rajasic you became, so violent you became during different hours of the day. And there are certain moments, especially after your morning prayers and meditation, you're so sattvic. So unless your character is perfect, and unless your character is good, and then perform dharma. There are characterless people who do a lot of dharma, but none of those great missions. They have built old age homes, they build schools, and many of them you find, especially in Tamil Nadu today, there are more than 80 colleges for sale. And you look back into the history of who are the ones who build those colleges, people with no character. And therefore, that temple of learning becomes a waste. It cannot contribute for the purpose for which you did it. So you need to have character, and through character, do an act of dharma, like even if you're building a hospital. And all of us know who have lived a dharmic life. If you live a way dharmically, how much excess money you can make? You cannot. And therefore, if at all you make, take whatever little you want for your own personal. They say even start doing charity at the cost of hurting yourself. I remember my father doing a lot of charity. And I've seen once that he issues a check for a good cause. He calls the bank and says, there's no money in my account, but hold on the check, I'll remit the money. And I asked him, he said, I may not get another opportunity to serve this. And therefore, it's my duty to make sure that I do charity, and my not having money cannot be a reason for me to get rid of them. But today, we go to people for good causes, especially now with the lockdown. And they say, last month, 2 months lockdown, we didn't have sales. But everybody knows they have crores in their accounts. It's not going to get reduced completely if you do a little money. But even then, we find there are simple, humble people who come and say, can I contribute 500 rupees? Daily, we are feeding 10,000 people through the collector and the tahsildar. And the happiness in the poor people, many of them are migrants from North India and other parts of India. They have no phones. They have no food. So this dynamic teaching of practical spirituality has tremendous consequences for man and society. But emphasis here is on character, leading to universality of vision. By doing so, your vision starts becoming more universal, not localized. Your whole world becomes your own asset. your own area of opportunity. And that's why you find great masters like Bill Gates of Microsoft sitting and making money in the US. He's got an office in Delhi. Even now, he has invited research projects for COVID. Of whoever can do it, we will support. I remember once in Delhi, saw an advertisement, somebody saying, those who like to have money for good purpose, contact me and I shall. I contacted him and I went and waited in a Hyatt hotel. I expect him to come in a Benz or a BMW. He comes in an auto rickshaw. And then we meet. He said, what is it that you wanted money for? I said, I didn't actually come for money. I only wanted to come to know, why do you want to do this? He's the first person asking me such a question, so asking me for a course. And he said, I just coming back from the Ministry of Education. I offered $500 million, provided the government of India puts $500 million. I am basically a carpenter from Punjab in Canada. I made billions. I feel life is so boring, whereas I was so happy as a carpenter. So would like to go back to the carpenter's job and give him a wealth for that, which means he was prepared to spare his money for the whole world. Universal vision on the one side and social efficiency on the other. Life is viewed in a context of progress. We need to make sure that we are progressing every day. Progressing in every way are better thoughts, better actions, better responsibility being taken up, doing better good for the society. We need to have development in ourselves. And the great word I keep repeating every day, self-realization. With this infinitude of being as the target of achievement. So yesterday we mentioned what you need to achieve is happiness. Ultimately, all the stakes should be nothing other than blissful, eternal happiness. Instead of piecemeal happiness by getting small, petty dolls, your happiness should be there. This man-making message was communicated to our country by none else other than Swami Vivekananda. In a brief statement of national education policy. What a beautiful national education policy he gave. Rabindranath Tagore has given, Swami Ranganathanji has given, Aurobindo has given, but very unfortunate for the last 70 years, all these great masters were ignored. And if only we had adopted to this sort of education, today, even without that, you find in any part of the world, any big company that's being built up is headed by an Indian. And most of these masters are known. I was traveling once through Europe. In Germany, when in a small station, the train stopped, a German lady got in. Seeing me, she said, Namaste. And she wanted to know whether I was from the land of Swami Ranganathananda. How many of you have heard about him? A man who was a cook, studied up to 6th standard, and rises to become the president of the Ramakrishna Mission. Great thinker. Once when he was in a hospital, Mahathir, the present Prime Minister of Malaysia, sends word through somebody that I want to talk to Swami Ranganathananda. Swamiji said, next week I'm passing through Kuala Lumpur to Australia. I'll be there in the aircraft and Mahathir can come there. It was through a minister of Mahathir's cabinet that this message came to me. The minister says Mahathir came and spent 1 hour in the flight. He was going through a crisis that time before in the last rule of us. And whatever Swamiji guided him is what saved him in the parliament. So if such people who are not as qualified as you and me can rise up to that great heights through this sort of vision from Upanishads, can we also not take up our life more serious? The national idea of ideals of India are renunciation and service. Give up whatever you have. Try to serve as much time as possible. Intensifying in these channels, and the rest will take care of itself. Intensify your renunciation act and intensify your seva bhav, and you will find you are well taken care of by the Lord who brought you here for a purpose. But we deviated from those paths and took to the wrong way of life due to the wrong education that we got. May the Lord guide you and bless you, and may each one of you transform every day. I don't want you to be a silent listener, but would like you to be an active participant in transforming your own self and thereby transform society and take this great country back to its glorious days, which is going to happen. We are fortunate we are here on this earth at this particular time. And at one time, we can also claim, or at least our grandchildren can claim, that yes, my grandparents were part of the movement. Good luck. God bless you. All the best. Any questions, please post them on the chat. I shall try to reply to the best of my ability. Good luck to you. God bless you. Looks like there are no questions for the day, so I won't hold you back longer. Have a nice day, and with your permission, yeah, questions have come. How to get rid of dvesh towards someone? It's your ego problem. Someone said something which hurt me. And this is where again spirituality helps you. When you realize you are not the you that you consider as yourself, but you are part of the great self of the whole as a Ishwaramshan. Like we, when you get into the Guru Parampara, get initiated by great masters, first thing what they do after initiating into an order is to give you a sannyasa nama. So as far as I'm concerned, Krishna Kumar is dead. You can abuse me. It doesn't really matter because I'm not no more there. My sannyasa nama, which I offer to the Lord when I offer my prayers, I start with that nama and say, me so and so, offer my oblations to you. So even that helps you. Number two, laugh off at them because it is their ignorance and foolishness that they did something wrong to hurt you. And by hurting or having dvesh, it's like cancer. It is you who is the loser. And the more you become angry, the more happy they are that they succeeded in making you happy. But at the same time, instead of the dvesh, if you can laugh it off and try to say, these things don't work on me, you find they utterly fail and they get a shock. Oh my God, what a soul you are. They're respectful. Go up for them. So try not to have dvesh against anybody. Love as much as possible. My father used to say, there will be people in your life who harmed you. And the Malayalam words he used to say was, lick them and kill them with love. I used to wonder, how is it possible? Is it possible that somebody harmed you? But believe me, as years went, there are lots of people who came in my way, harmed me. And the happiness that I get by serving them with extra love. And somebody came and asked me, I'm fully conscious that I have harmed you in life. How come you show so much of extra love for me? I said, why do we discuss the past? And the guilt that he had, he said, that guilt is killing me. So this is what you can give them in return. That we don't have to make them feel guilty, but they themselves start feel guilty. Tell them it's okay. So they are much lesser in their own values. And that's why they took up this position and you had to get grace from them. Erase it. Prayers and meditation can help you to remove it. Every day tell yourself, nobody exists in life against whom you are angry. And number two, what you deserve, you get. Earlier, if somebody called me donkey, I'll kick them. But now when somebody calls me donkey, I look into myself and analyze and say, there is some donkishness in me. Let me perfect myself. And that helps you to transform. So use every opportunity for self-development and growth. And let it not be taken back. Otherwise, what is the difference between them and you? You are as bad as them. Correct yourself. Change your attitude. You said characterless person should not do dharma. What is the meaning here for characterless? Characterless means making money the wrong way. People who womanize and plunder them and take their wealth. People who are into drinks. People who are into violence. And when that becomes characterless, we say is a man of no character. But they, for other purposes, do a lot of dharma. All for pomp and show. And nothing of that works. I've experienced for dharmic good causes. There are many people who come and tell me, can I help you? And we are ready to accept anybody's offer because we've got so many things to do. I say most welcome. But end of the day, you find nothing come from them. I used to feel so hurt that somebody who promised to send me 10 lakhs of rupees could not give it to me or did not give it to me. Then one day I had self-realization. Bad money cannot come for a good cause. And today we cannot ever say, and every penny that you make it the hard way, you feel so happy and good. And because that money, there are wonderful, beautiful stories of how the Kutijatan made a village, fight between them, because that was the devil's purpose of creating problem. So there has to be people from whom you take money, but make sure they also have character. The characterless will have plenty of extra money earned through wrong sources. But they don't realize that their next parampara suffers. Recently, a young boy was suffering with extreme cancer. They came and told me that he is passing away. Can he leave the meeting fast? I said, bring the horoscope. And checking the horoscope, the astrologer immediately said, did the boy get a diamond necklace? And the boy's father said, yes. When did he get it? When my wife died. At what age did your wife die? At the age of 42. Did she also become cancerous after getting the diamond necklace? Yes. Was her father a plunderer? He was a zamindar, like a small king of a village. He had done enough damage to the women of the village, and he had robbed somebody's diamond necklace. So anything that comes through that way, which comes to you, and what is the treatment? Neither Ayurveda nor allopathy or chemotherapy. The astrologer suggested, ask that boy to sell the diamond necklace and give that money for treatment of poor people. and the boy is today hale and healthy. The same doctor asks the patient's parents, how did I make a mistake when I don't find any cancer? Whereas he himself has given a prescription saying the boy is on cancer. So this is why we say characterless people's money will not last. How do, how do we have samba for everyone and have same behavior towards everyone? One who's in good terms with us and also with those who are not. When you realize that the same Jivamsham is there in everybody, the same Lord exists in not only in our friends and enemies, but even in animals, even in trees. And if all of them can be loved as nothing else but another Amsham of mind, I don't think there can be any difference in our attitude towards one and a bad attitude towards the other. These realizations will come only when you get into meditation, more of reading. I always keep joking. In India, early in the morning, when you go for a walk, everybody is in such a tensed face. Whereas abroad, when you go for a walk, first time when I went and I was going for a walk outside, I saw everybody saying, hi, good morning, how are you? I used to wonder, how does he know me? But then realized that was an attitude of theirs. Here also it doesn't cost you to say good morning or namaste or namaskaram. But that is not there. If we can develop that vow, it's good for you more than being good for others. The world starts saying, what a lovable person. He has no enemies in life. He loves everybody equally. And that elevates your respect. You don't do it for that. And that helps you for your inner growth. Otherwise, there can be a lot of obstacles. So try to love as many people. At the same time, we say, come out of your attachment. You need to be detached with even with your family gradually. But at the same time, love as much as possible. It doesn't cost us. And the more you love, the more love comes out of you. So that is how we should be living. Thanks for your great motivation words. We have the work in a dharmic way, and that takes us to moksha level. That's all. We have to dedicate whole life to achieve that. Exactly. Dedicate your life. And I told you earlier, I warned you earlier, the more you try to dedicate, the more would be the obstruction. The Lord tries to trap you to see, are you really devoted? Are you really dedicated? You have the determination to carry out your own promise that you took to yourself. Doesn't matter how many obstacles have come across, how many people. If Modi ji has come to this position today, how many obstacles he had? 20 years back, we sat in an ordinary restaurant and he was mentioning his vision for India. I was wondering, what has this man got to do with such great talk of the vision for India? And after that, how many cases? What all attempts were there? Nothing worked. Determination, dedication, with no other expectation. A man who had just two sets of clothes and come up to a position that the whole world respects. So your dedication gets compensated by bringing it to a level where you yourself start asking, do I deserve this sort of respect from society? So try to do that, but don't ever be scared that some obstacles come. The day you decide, you'll find that day is the day when maximum obstacles are there. Somebody wants you for something else, somebody wants you for something. In a nice, beautiful language, you can say, I'm committed for a cause today. Sorry, I shall not be available. The society may turn against you. You lose all your friends who start feeling that you are indifferent these days. You have tried to become a big shot. You are not like early days. After you achieve something good in life, you find the same people saying, we know even those days that you're going to make it big. So both shouldn't matter to you. The society being indifferent or the society trying to tell you that they love you so much and that you're a great man, laugh it off. And that is also an attempt by the Lord trying to make people praise you. And somewhere in the corner of your heart, if you have a feeling, oh yeah, I am a wonderful fellow. We hear so many people say, I am smart. No, he is the smart and you are just an observer, a performer. Don't interfere through your vasanas and distractions. Allow him to utilize you as a nimitta matram, as the Bhagavad Gita says, and you will see you achieve so much in your name, which you yourself start wondering whether am I capable of all this. Your advice on how a child should be brought up, what should we teach, what should we avoid teaching. My humble suggestion is please stop sending your child to the school. Even yesterday, somebody called me and said, you have been insisting that I stop sending my child to school. I've decided to do homeschooling. Give them Bharatiya Samskars. Nothing great. I'm not talking about the Upanishads or anything. Make them wake up in the morning, chant the name of the Lord, give them some nice stories, and along with that, English, a little bit of mathematics, which are essential in life. And I have a new concept of a school, which God willing, next year we start by the time lockdown came up. Have different types of animals in a small campus. Let them become dog lovers and bird lovers. Have a small farmland where they make them cultivate different things and they see the seed that they sow become growing. It's a wonder for the child. In America and other places, children keep asking, does the milk come from the machine? They don't know it comes from the cows. So take them for such sort of things. There are so many wonderful, wonderful, innovative things we can do for education. And I think our new education policy is going to give you permission to do that. Teach them some art and music. Today you have no time for that. There are three beautiful dancing girls who performed in our temple. I called them and asked the parents, are you prepared to stop them from doing their dance? They got a shock. I said, check their horoscope. High potential students who could have become great dancers. The children were so happy that somebody asked them. But the parents didn't have the courage and said, sir, at least a degree. For what? If they could have been trained more into that, in addition, give them some additional knowledge for worldly living today. One complaint the mother said was, she will not have any company. Certain subjects you teach them outside. Maybe a Sanskrit class, you can find other children there who are friends of the same samskar. Bring it up. You can write to me. I'll send you a note of the school that I created. Have the courage to start it. And today, it's time that admission, you can see all sorts of funny advertisements, value-based education. What value are you going to give them? And today, the minute I see a teacher, I say, you are the one who is responsible for creating so many jobless people. The education that you gave doesn't give them the skill. And that's why Modi says, give them skill education. Let them be carpenters. Today you don't get a carpenter, you don't get a painter, you don't get a plumber. How does it matter? When I went to US, I went for an Iyer Society meeting. And they said our president, Professor Panikkar, would be coming. So what is your anticipation? President of a great organization, Professor Panikkar, expecting a Benz car in which he'll come. A little later, I find a man with broomstick and painting brushes and everything. And he's got that worker suit, one-piece suit, which you see pilots and other people wearing. And I thought some problem in that house, and therefore this plumber was called. He came and they introduced him and said, he's Professor Panikar. I said, sir, how come you are in this dress? He said, yeah, 3 o'clock my university gets over. What's wrong in going and doing these jobs? I, as a man in society, need to be in touch with everybody and help everybody. So, dignity of labor, which is what you don't find in India. So, teach the child Vedanta gradually, but for that, the best teacher is you should start living. I don't want to give you a bad example of somebody, how that father came crying to me and said, my younger daughter taught me a great lesson, called me, you are a liar, you bluff the world, you use the dirtiest words, and this is what you're teaching me. He said, from that day, I shall not use bad words, I shall not do lying anymore. So today's children are much more smarter than what we were at a younger age. They are observing you. So live the right way. Live the right way, spend your time with your family, take them for outing, take them for horticultural exhibitions, feed them on plants, feed them on cows. All these things should be brought into their life, and you'll find your child becomes one of the real model Indian child as per our Shastras. How do I find strength to go forward in the path of Dharma when I or my near one is facing a challenge in life? And that is the time you should do it. Struggle for some time, and you will be really helping them out. I don't have time, I can give you enough examples of how during challenging times, people who stuck to their dharmic life find some shower of blessings from the Lord comes. And the whole family felt that you are indifferent to their challenges, starts feeling that you are the blessing for the family. Hold on to it. Don't give up at any cost. How do we stop identifying ourselves excessively with people and objects around us? Withdraw, detachment starts. Ask yourself, I'm not talking in the wrong sense that how does this man help you? Every friend of yours should be somebody who can help you to grow inwardly. Most of the meetings of friends are nothing but gossip over a cup of a drink. Or women, what, whatever club you call them. Withdraw from all that. If you want to be extraordinary, you got to live an extraordinary life. You cannot be merging with ordinary people. I'm invited by my friends for a film. My mother was so adamant, no way you shall go with them. I used to be so angry with her. She said, if at all you want to go for a film, you can take a servant who was working with us, a very old man. Go with them. What fun in going for a film with an old man. He joined this institution the day I was born. 80 years he lived and just died recently. Now, and today, I'm not belittling any of my friends. None of them are anybody. Living on their parents' and grandparents' wealth they earned, selling every bit of it. And every other day when they find something about me, they call and say, Krishna, wonderful. We now know why you were indifferent to us in school. You never mixed with us. So have the courage to withdraw from and do a audit. Do I need this friend? Basically, is he a good person? Is he a good sattvic person? Does his family have a good culture? Drop out. Let them say anything they want. But if you don't start at this late stage, which is not very late but early, you will not be making it anyway. You will also pass through the earth as somebody who came for no reason and somebody who left with no contribution. How can we love without attachment? Well, attachment is something which becomes very personal. Love is something which overflows from us. You should become the personification of love, and love them for whatever they are. And the so-called great attachment, I know people who are such great attached friends. One small word or one small act which I didn't like, the next word I used was, I hate you. Previous day you said, I love you so much. I hate you. Number two, all attachments brings you sorrow. For example, not that anything should happen to your friends. You are attached so much to your grandfather. He has to pass away one day or the other. The more attached you are, the more sad and sorrow you become. So be prepared for realities by slowly withdrawing from. We say vairagya. Vairagya is not frustration or disappointment, as people say. It is visheshana raga. You were playing with Mary biscuits. Later on, you started finding something more fascinating in gold biscuit. You do not get it. What happened to your attachment? So all these are words which really don't mean anything. But love them for whatever they are. Love as many people, as many things as possible. And you find more and more love comes to you and you become so happy. How to resolve oneself? By meditation. As you become more and more evolved in your meditation, you will dissolve yourself and you may not be knowing, oh my God, did I sit for meditation for an hour? Which means I was not conscious of the outer world. That's how one can get dissolved. Don't we take an interesting film and go and sit and you can see, or football match? People who sit at the back and say, kick, 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 you are dissolved into the whole thing. That shows your interest. That way, take more interest, read more, chant Vishnu Sahasranam, chant Lalita Sahasranam. Bring as much force from around you to make you more spiritual. You will. As the month of Ramadan and charity being one of the five pillars of Islam, how do I start small on a day-to-day basis? Well, at least go and love them. Visit their homes, say a few good words. I'm sure you can do small charity. Outside the mosques, you see people sitting. You can't give big money. Give them at least 5 rupees or buy them a packet of food and give them. Do your own prayers during Ramadan. And during the prayer, pray for the whole world. Inshallah, everybody should grow. Violence should reduce. Everybody should start learning more and more from people. And you find the more you pray, the more you become automatically. You desire it. I want to do a lot of things, and the Lord will facilitate it. It is your inner vow. You be ready. Like many people say, can you do Annadan for us? I said, tell me for how many people you want it. I will do it for you. It doesn't matter whether it's my money or your money. So visiting them, waking up early in the morning as prescribed by Islam. I think you are supposed to do 7 times prayers. I think you are supposed to observe not having food, follow the name of the religion, and that makes you a better Muslim. And charity can start with small amount of what best I can, I shall share. What little I have, I shall share. And that way, you can make that great season of prayers into a beautiful occasion. think I've crossed the time. 6:10. Have a nice day. Maybe the last question has come. So many books, knowledge, skills. I get overwhelmed, get nothing done while I worry, measuring how tall the mountain is. Try to live in the moment. Why are you trying to count every tree in the forest? Just sit under one tree and don't get amazed and say, oh my God, what wonderful forest. How do I go through the whole thing? Take one book, complete it. I would always say, don't try to complete books fast. One chapter a day, contemplate over it, think over it, and get what saram you can get. Doesn't matter. Forget what you read. But what is that aspect from the book that you can change? Change yourself. And you will find more and more and more coming into you, more and more good books being given to you, and you can take it. And worrying doesn't help you to go anywhere. Worries of the past, anxiety of the future, you miss your present. So try to be in the present. One page a day, yes, you can do it. One good act you can learn, do it. There are so many good things you can learn from Netflix and YouTubes and all those things. Try to listen to them. But don't keep thinking, oh, I got to do that, I got to do that, and thereby not do anything. You can find lots of people saying, I got so much to do today. Earlier, my habit was daily I'll write down 32 points and say, all this I got to do. And I used to wonder and worry, as you said, oh my God, 32 things to do. Am I going to achieve all of them? End of the day, hardly two done. Later on, I said, let me start with number one, my priorities to be listed out. Do that, move to the other. And you find the speed at which you achieve, which means the Lord is making you do it. It's not you who do it faster. He makes you do it. So don't worry. Do one thing at a time and keep on performing every day. And end of the day, ask yourself, did I really utilize my day today? And you will get the answer, yes, you did a wonderful job. God bless all of you. Thank you for the wonderful time that you gave me. Namaste.